It's the Happy Families Podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
Well, Kylie, your voice isn't real crash hot today, but we're going to do our best to get through today's podcast. Can you just say hi so everyone can hear how great you sound?
Hi.
Oh, you made it sound like your voice is fine. That's great. Gentle parenting is under fire. It has been quite a lot on social media. It's also the booming parenting style. It's the one that everybody wants to talk about. Kylie, today we're going to examine what gentle parenting is, how it's looking, why it's looking that way, and just what you need to know. And I thought the best place to start was with some gentle parenting from Parental Guidance. In season 1, we had our attachment parents. They were very, very gentle. Our attachment parents, they were trying to complete a challenge. One of the kids was doing it just fine, and then the other kid wanted to join in. That led to a whole lot of upset children, and ultimately Rafi ended up outside at the car, kicking the car, and Dad tried to step in and make things better.
Rafi, I want you to have some alone time. Rafi, do not kick that once more. Please. We don't be angry. We don't be violent. Do you want a dinged car that looks really wonky and bomb-bomb? Bomb-bomb is a weird word, isn't it?
Rafi, it's okay to be sad. It's not okay to kick the car.
Rafi, do not kick that once more. Please. We don't be angry.
So there was a lot of cringing happening in the studio. There were a lot of very awkward faces in the studio, including by the parents who are watching themselves looking completely impotent, totally incompetent in front of their little Rafi, who was so upset. Those donk noises, by the way, were Rafi kicking the car in spite of the fact that he was being told not to kick the car.
Maybe it was the use of bong bong.
Yeah, we don't want to make the car a bong bong. That's a funny word. Bong bong. So gentle parenting is under fire. And let's be honest, when you see gentle parenting in its purest form, which I guess is kind of what we were seeing there, it looks horrible. It looks hard. It looks exhausting.
Well, we really need to define it because I don't know if they were necessarily the best example of gentle parenting.
Well, here's what's really interesting. We don't have much research on gentle parenting. It's never been academically defined at all. The so-called self-described gentle parenting founder, Sarah Ockwell-Smith, describes gentle parenting as a way of being. She says it's a mindset with an emphasis on your child's feelings. But every definition I've ever read of gentle parenting is really vague. It's really general. It certainly doesn't match any academic descriptions of any other parenting style that's ever existed. It's just this vibe, right? And the vibe is you respect your kids' feelings and you try to work things out gently and kindly, and you sit with your children in their emotions while they work through them so that you can then get on with things. In so many ways, and this actually frustrates me, in so many ways it sounds like what I teach parents, except it feels like it's a magnified, caricatured version of what I teach. It misses the essential elements of what it is. And we don't have any research evidence on it because you can't measure it if you can't define it. Right now, it hasn't even been defined. And so normally parenting styles develop out of research and evidence. So from the 1920s through to about the 1970s, we had behaviorism, and that was basically don't hug your kids. And then from the 1980s, 1990s into the early 2000s, it was the attachment style, which was always hug your kids. And then we had free-range parents, which was like, where are my kids? But now gentle parenting has kind of taken over the world. More than 50% of parents in one survey that I came across describe themselves as gentle parents. It's been really pushed by the mummy bloggers, the Instamums, the TikTok crowd. Gentle parenting is everywhere. And yet it's really, really poorly defined. And because it's poorly defined, basically permissive, indulgent parenting or parenting that's all about feelings and not about boundaries gets lumped in as being called gentle parenting, which is why I don't like gentle parenting. I just think it's too vague. It's not helpful.
When you see or hear a clip like we just played and recognize that that would be a depiction of gentle parenting, the first thing that comes to my mind is an absolute polar extreme from the way I would suggest most of our generation was raised.
Yeah.
Heavy-handed, very, very controlling, strong boundaries, do's and don'ts, children to be seen, not heard, our emotions not really taken into account. And it feels like it's literally a rejection of everything that we were raised with to the polar extreme.
Yes.
It's like taking out all of the positive, and there were positives, taking all of that out of the equation and going the complete other way.
I was going to say something really similar. As I talk to parents in parenting seminars right around the country, so often parents will say, I just don't want to do to my kids what my parents did to me. The word that you use, that idea of a rejection, really, really resonates for me. There is a little bit of research that's just starting to be done. Some research that was done by somebody called Annie Pizzella. She's a researcher at Macalester College in the United States. And in her research, what she basically found was that gentle parenting, again, not well defined at all, is fundamentally about elevating our children's emotions. Kids and their emotions, that's the central theme. And I think that it grows out of work by John Gottman. He wrote a book called Raising an Emotionally Intelligent Child, which was a brilliant book, so well written, so well researched, really, really carefully put together, and gives great guidance. But again, gentle parenting is kind of blown up from that. It's been amplified, and there are really important nuances that have been missed. Like you said, it's kind of the whole, I'm going to reject previous generations and pick up on this and run with it. But there's nuance, there's detail, there are important things that aren't showing up in modern parenting, especially in this gentle parenting movement. And my pushback is that we're not our kids' therapists. And one of the challenges with the whole raising an emotionally intelligent child, the emotion coaching process, which when I first started running parenting seminars was brand new. Everyone was like, wow, this is incredible. I love it. What's happened is everything has become about emotions. Emotions have become king. And when you do that, when you indulge your kids in their emotions, what ends up happening is the kids start to feel like they can get away with anything.
So there's a saying that I've heard a number of times over the years, where your attention goes, your energy flows.
That's it. Yep.
And so when we think about this whole notion of emotions being key, if my child is anxious and we put so much emphasis on those feelings of anxiety, does that not then have the possibility of creating more anxiety?
Yeah, exactly. The more you sit in that emotion, the more you focus on the emotion, the more you magnify and amplify and exacerbate and accelerate that emotion. The other thing that I would add to that is when we focus on our kids' feelings, sometimes we do it at the expense of our own feelings or at the expense of the feelings of other people in the family. And so the kids really do believe that their feelings are the only feelings that matter. We're trying to teach empathy, but we're reducing empathy because the kids feel like, well, I'm having an emotion and I need all of your attention and all of your focus now, which means that your priorities and the feelings, emotions, experiences of the other kids in the family all kind of get pushed to the side as well so that we can elevate this one child's emotions. It's not healthy for kids. It's not healthy for effective family functioning.
No, well, I know when I'm having a bad day and I'm feeling really sad, I love it when you respect the fact that I'm having a hard day, but you're not going to sit in that space with me and wallow with me. I don't want you to match my energy. I don't want you to sit there and help me to focus on all of the hard stuff because I don't want to be in that space.
Yeah, no offense, but I don't want to be there either. So there's no point me joining you in it for more than a minute or two just to say, I get it, you're having a hard time.
And I think that's probably where we might be falling a little bit short with our kids. The acknowledgement is, yeah, you're feeling really sad right now, but how do we move through that? And I think that might be something that is worthwhile talking about.
Well, there's a second theme that came out of this Macalester College research with Annie Pizzella, and I think that it's really worth highlighting. She pretty much said parents are identifying they are just hanging in there. Like they are hanging on for dear life. This was a recurrent theme, this gentle parenting, elevating my children's emotions. I'm going to use the word indulging, although those who are subscribers to the gentle parenting philosophy would hate me for doing that. But this idea of indulging our children's emotional needs to the point that everything else stops. My needs, the rest of the family's needs, everything stops so that I can indulge my child's needs. That aspect of gentle parenting is exhausting mums and dads, and it's making them feel like they are not competent. It's making them feel like they just can't do this. They're lousy at it. I promise you this, no matter how much you focus on your kids' feelings, there's always going to be another feeling.
I was about to say that. And there's no structure or rhyme to emotions. So there's no do this, and everything's going to work out. Like, emotions are fluid. They're changing all the time. Everybody feels them differently. And so as a parent who's trying to work it out from one child to the next, let alone their own emotions, it's a really, really intense. But the thing that stands out to me the most is this idea of gentle parenting being a way of being. It's a mindset. And the idea that emotions are important. So having a conversation with our kids and telling them that it's not okay to be angry, is not helpful either, because they are angry.
Right.
But why does it have to be all or nothing? I actually loved watching parental guidance with our kids. When we sat down with them, I thought I'd just check in with them and see. And I said, what parenting style do you think we are? And every single child in the room could list about 3 or 4 different styles that they thought we might be, because they're like, oh, you're a little bit free range and you're a little bit gentle, and I really love the attachment because you're really good like that. But they actually couldn't pinpoint it.
They haven't read my book, Need Supportive Parenting, Autonomy Supportive Parenting.
Well, you didn't have that depicted, did you?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that family wasn't in there. That's right. We went there. Yeah.
As we're having this discussion and I'm thinking about gentle parenting and I'm thinking about the conversations that we've had with our kids, the thing that stands out to me the most is, why does it have to be all or nothing? Why can I not be a gentle person who strives to treat my children with respect while providing them with the boundaries and the structures that they desperately need?
That sounds like you've been talking to me.
Our kids need us to be the big people in the room. They need us to be the adults. They need us to be able to take control of the situation for them to feel safe and secure. But they also need us to do it with heart.
You just reminded me of something. The pendulum swung. So when I first started doing this, maybe 10, 15 years ago, probably 15 years ago now, when I first started running these parenting workshops, there was still a lot of smacking. There was still a lot of parents that were pretty full on, pretty intense, pretty authoritarian. In 2024, the pendulum has swung right to the other end. And the kids, in so many ways, really are being elevated. Their emotions, their experience, it's all about the kids now. And when I run those sessions and I ask parents what the most common parenting responses are to challenging behaviors, instead of yelling and smacking and time out and all those kinds of things, what I'm hearing more than anything are gentle responses. I want to sit with my child. I want to understand them. I want to validate them. Like, the pendulum has swung so far to the other side of the divide. And we really do need to bring it back a little bit. I don't think that what I've been teaching has shifted very much, if at all. Rather, parenting has gone from one end to the other end, and I keep on trying to just bring it back to the middle a little bit. Basically, as you said, Kylie, be nice, be present, set boundaries, and then move forward. Kids need us to be that prefrontal cortex. They need us to be competent. They need us to be in control, but they need us to do it kindly and with empathy. And if we can do that, we don't need to worry about all the labels. We just need supportive parents, which is what I've written about in the Parenting Revolution. And we don't have the same levels of exhaustion. It's not as emotionally draining. We don't have to get all caught up in the kids' emotions.
Well, I'm just putting it out there. I'm still a little bit exhausted.
Okay, fair enough. Parenting is exhausting. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rowland for Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. If you'd like more information about making your family happier and getting your parenting style on song, check out happyfamilies.com.au or pick up a copy of my book, The Parenting Revolution.